All right. Hello, guys. Thank you all for waiting. I would apologize for being tardy and homosexual. However, I'm not the cause of it.
You are homosexual.
I only have. How's it going, Spoon? How are you doing?
Ugh, I spilled shit and now I'm sad.
So that was the cause of the tardy homosexuality was
Yes.
Spoon spilled something. He won't tell me what it is, which makes me way more curious because that's how psychological reactance works.
It's not that
Anyway,
drastic, it's just messy.
every time you try to not describe it, it makes it grosser. Anyway, hello chat. How have you guys been? I have
That says
basically
more about your mind than mine, by the way. If you say, if I say messy and then your mind just goes haywire. I don't know what messy means in Aiden's mind, but okay.
I have been pretty much out of town and I've really not had good access to the internet. I mean, I have, but I was also sort of whatever. I was traveling all since last Thursday. We went to Birmingham for No Most Birmingham, which was the event that Scrump put together. Really had a fantastic time meeting up with everybody. It was also a lot of people from the Basket Weavers, which is associated with Academic Agent. I think he's the one who started the terminology there, at least. Probably like over 100 people at the event. Very interesting getting to listen to a lot of different speakers about. Well, I think that the main topic of the event was vanguardism, of basically being the vanguard of dissident political thought. Had a great time hanging out with everybody, and again,
Fun
just
times.
I asked Spoon to come, and he didn't want to, so
That's fine.
you could have.
Knowing what you say about me, I would have been late and gay.
You would have been late and gay, probably. Why don't take this too seriously now? Come on, it's just a meme.
I know, but with this voice of mine, I can make anyone think I'm serious about anything.
I
And one of the
know.
nice things about having a baritone voice is you can say some insane shit. People just say, "Wow, that guy definitely sounds very serious about everything." Not really. It's just helpful to sound this way.
I think it's a natural sort of reaction to people who have deep voices because people see Bill that way all the time. My dad also has a deep voice. My dad's also like like 6'7", so everyone's just kind of
Jesus
afraid
Christ.
of him all the
Okay.
time. He's just he's really tall and has a really deep voice, and everyone was like would always think he was mad at them all the time.
Yeah,
I grew up
six
with
seven
it,
with
so
a
I
deep
didn't
voice
think
would
that.
scare the shit out of me too.
Yeah.
I have also a deep voice, but I don't have 6'7" height on me. Yeah. Tardy and homosexual. Yes.
Yes, we
It
are tardy
sounds
and
like V
homosexual
for some
here.
reason.
Speaking of being tardy and homosexual, oh, let's get to that in a moment. I thought we're gonna get into
I would not
the
describe Disney as tardy, by the way.
no, just
Homosexual, yes,
homosexual.
but definitely not tardy.
uh, right, so only half of that. But speaking of tardy, actually, let's start with that. We'll start with the tardy part of tardy and homosexual. This person is late to the party. If you guys are not aware, as I'm sure you are, could you bring that image up if you can?
Oh God.
Uh, I thought we'd start with this. Something funny, something amusing. I'm sure all of you have gotten the memo that Putin saved us all from COVID. There's no more COVID anymore. It doesn't matter because of because of the Ukraine situation, or at least it's certainly interesting how it seems that nobody cares about COVID anymore. And some people are upset that people don't care about COVID anymore and are seething and shitting and pissing about it. Such as this woman, Dr. Risa Hoshino, MD. Sometimes I walk home in my scrubs and N95 and stare at the bars.
There's where you immediately have to stop. When you say, sometimes I walk home and scrub in 95 and like, stop. Like, I don't need to know any more about you. That is all I need to know.
She
You're
is a doctor,
shit.
to be fair. She's a doctor, to be fair.
I don't care if you're a doctor or not. There's plenty of doctors that have been absolutely batshit insane about this stuff.
True, but
So
hang on. It makes sense why she's wearing scrubs and an N95, okay? If you were not a doctor. No, she's a doctor. That makes sense for her to wear scrubs.
Yes, in the hospital, but outside when you're staring at a bar, you look like fucking mental.
Why? She's on her way home from work. Right? Although I think a lot of times they have
I'm just
changing
laughing
rooms.
at this, by the way. Full of unmasked people yelling, laughing, and spit flying. No vax status. Yes, it's almost like this is how we lived, like for our entire fucking civilization.
Don't remind her. She's upset about it.
Jesus.
The utter contrast of my life with theirs seems so surreal. When will be my time to live my life? Bitch, no one is stopping you. Touch grass. I mean, I am worried about the longitudinal mental health of some people like this. You know, like she can't let go. Clearly, it's affected her so deeply psychologically. She can't let go and is angry that other people have let go. I mean, maybe she did take it very seriously, but you know, again, I would think people who have been reading the medical literature on this would not be, because I don't know if she's terrified, because she doesn't seem terrified here, does she? She just seems angry and spiteful.
Otherwise known as being female.
Raised, I
no
guess.
offense, ladies. I know there are some of you that are very nice people.
I just thought that
one
was
of them.
Oh, thank you, gay.
That's
and speaking of gay,
I'll say to you today. The rest of us is going to give you shit.
And speaking of gay, here's the other part of the Tardian gay. Let's start with this article. If you guys are did not hear, I know. If you all are not aware, the horrible, awful, literal double Hitler, don't say gay, bill, as it is called. I hate that, right? It's so annoying. And you can't use ad blockers, it won't let you fucking open the site. So, the Don't Say Gay bill has passed Florida Senate. Oh, really? Okay. Mhm. Yeah, that's what happened to me just now. Yeah. Yeah, Billy No says, "Hey, why is she walking home in scrubs?" Yeah, usually I think they have places you discard them at the in the hospital, but right. Yeah. Oh, really? So it's just part of the virtue signal. Are you muted? Am I muted?
No, there's no.
God damn it, Spoon.
That's fine.
Well.
But no, the scrubs thing is weird to me because, like I said, I've worked in a hospital before, and I've never seen a doctor ever exit it with like their lab coat on or everything. They would get dressed in normal clothes before they leave.
Yeah, again, like
So
I
that's
said,
kind
it
of
seems like kind of a virtue signal on her part.
bizarre.
Although it does remind me of that the scene in Airplane where they're looking for a doctor and it's just like they're like, "Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor?" It's like, "Excuse me, miss. I think the man sitting next to me is a doctor." It's like, "How can you tell?" And he's just sitting there with a stethoscope on the plane. It's that kind of level of shit, right?
God damn it. Oh, by the way, because people are saying that I'm saying game words, hold on a second.
He always says gamer words. Whoa, disavow.
I'm muted for that. You're fine. I said the F word. I just did a video yesterday. I did a video yesterday where I said that a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty based.
Yeah, because I hate that. It's actually that involves the fucking people in the article.
This topic, yeah.
Yes.
So
I hate those people. I really
so
do. Bummer. I'm a traditionalist at this point, so
I know, I understand. Understandable.
so are you.
Yeah. But to some degree, again, you know, I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't have a problem with trans people at all. I just don't. I hate the attempt to push it onto children.
Yeah, because it doesn't have any disturbing.
It's very disturbing, and it doesn't have any. It has no place in anywhere near prepubescent children.
Yes.
At all.
I don't think it has any place. I'm going to be honest. I don't think this is.
If you're teaching sex ed, okay. Like if you're at the point where you're teaching sex ed, which is going to be what?
No, not even that stuff. Just I know people say, "Oh, you should have the free market, libertarianism, and all this." Like, no, this is where I favor the absolute monarch. This is where the monarch comes in and just says, "No, you are not allowed to do this stuff. You are insane, and this will ruin you." And just.
But this isn't free market. This is the government coming in and doing this. This is government entities coming in and doing.
Yes, but this crap leads to the trans shit.
Not in a public institution. And in fact,
really?
you know,
You don't
Not
think
in
so?
I don't think that's a product of the free market. No, because this is implemented
I
by
think
the
Disney's
government.
a part of the free market.
Here's what I'm trying to say though. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But if if there were more reasonably priced, I think really needs to happen is that people need to get the kids out of public schools.
Agreed.
And the problem is that it's impossible for private schools to be competitive with public schools because public schools are free, right?
Yeah.
So economically, private schools can't be competitive. Philosophically, moralistically, from an educational perspective, of course, the private schools are probably going to be a better option, or homeschooling, but that's not an economic possibility for a lot of parents, which is, what makes them not competitive. However, yeah, I think people really need to get their kids out of public schools. And in fact, and I told you this the other day, I don't actually think that public schools should be funded by the government. I don't think there should be such a thing. Maybe. I mean, I want children to get an education, but whenever the government gets involved in something, they always muck it up. Without fail. Again, I'm totally against government intervention in just about everything, which includes schooling. And for once, at least, and I wouldn't say that this was a win, by the way, what we got here, this is a stopgap. This is not a win. Because we read the actual bill a couple weeks ago. And just to reiterate to everybody, what the bill says is that you cannot teach about gender and sexual identity to children below in 3rd grade or below. You cannot make it part of the core curriculum. It cannot be part of the curriculum. Now, if it comes up naturalistically in the course of a teacher talking to students about something, and they talk about their 2 gay dads or something, it's fine. The teacher can talk about that, but not as a part of the instruction, not as part of the curriculum. So, of course, we're going to get into the way that this was being misinterpreted, because it's being misinterpreted on purpose. They are in the advocates against, this bill, the people who titled it the Don't Say Gay bill, they really want to portray it that it's going to make it so that kids aren't allowed to be gay in school, and that they're going to I don't know what, they always they catastrophize everything.
Dan said the bill is 7 pages long. None of the critics have read it.
It's astonishing. We read the whole thing on this channel 2 weeks ago, I think. It doesn't, or the vast majority of it. That's too long. It's too long for the freaking critics.
It's even too long for fucking Trump. Trump just said, "Give me bullet points." Fuck this.
Give me bullet points.
I can understand that though, because Trump he's got a lot of shit to do. So I can understand why he's just like, "This is a waste of my fucking time. Just give me in bite size so I can do other shit."
Yeah. But the key takeaway, here's the bullet point. All the bill says is you cannot teach about sexual identity and gender identity to children in 3rd grade or below. That's children who are, 3rd grade, 11, 10. Is that it? What's the average age? 3rd grade.
You know the way that I've said
8
before.
to 9.
All
it's
the people,
prepubescent. Okay.
All the
8
people
to 9.
that I don't like, you should strap them into a cannon and fire them into the sun.
Yeah.
Yes. Everyone who says the phrase gender identity, strap them into it, because I fucking hate that phrase.
Right.
And gender expression, like anything like that. Oh, and anyone who uses the word binary outside of ones and zeros, fuck off. Seriously,
right.
You are an abomination, and you are ruining society. Into the cannon you go. My list my list for who I was strapping to the cannon is getting larger every fucking day. Jon Stewart's list is on top of that right now.
I can't believe we're not going to watch the Jon Stewart bit just because we'll definitely get copyright claimed.
Yeah, because he's a greedy Jew.
No, it's not him. It's that aired on I think his show. What's his show's called? The Problem with Jon Stewart. I don't remember who said it on Adam and Such, but somebody said, or it was either a comment or one of them said it, that he is the problem. the problem. Yes. It shouldn't be called The Problem with Jon Stewart. It should be called The Problem, semicolon, or should be colon, yeah. Jon Stewart.
Was that the debut of his show?
I don't think it was the debut, was it?
I was going to say, because my God, if that is the debut, then that's fucking
No. I think it's been out for a while. September 2021 is when it debuted, so it's been out for a minute.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Anywho, scrolling down to this article.
Spoon would have a great conversation with Louis Levi. Oh my God, yes, I would.
Yeah.
Louis and I would get along extremely well.
Yeah, Louis invited me on he said whenever he streams again, he said he'd have me on sometime. And if I go on, I invite you on too, I guess. Whenever he streams again.
Yeah,
Louis is a good guy.
I feel like if you just said to like, well, who's this guy? Like, he's a white South African. Oh yeah, get him on. Like, what is his opinion? Yeah, it is what you think. Like, oh yeah, absolutely, I'll get along with Louis just fucking fine. Because Louis, if Louis ever did a Compcast, I would love to do one with him because he and I have the exact same fucking takes. Also, like, I remember someone said they should get Sargon on, and he just went, "Nah, Sargon isn't base enough." I went, "I fucking am." Good lord, like, Louis is right on my fucking level.
You're totally gonna. Keebler. Yeah, I did join HB's Discord. Yeah. I feel like it would be a real fast track to getting that stream taken down because every time Louis has Sargon on, Sargon basically immediately goes, "No gamer words, Louis," and then about 10 seconds later, it's just a barrage of gamer words.
If I was on Louis' show and he permitted me, I would just say, "I will not do anything you don't do. I'll drop gamer words all fucking day with Louis." Because Louis doesn't give a shit, and neither do I. The only reason I don't say gamer words is because of you, because you told me not to.
Because I'm trying to not lose this channel. We just started it, trying to do something productive here.
Aiden is
speaking of productive,
is a nice sweet girl, and I'm an asshole.
Good cop, bad cop. See, it works out. It's a classic dyad.
She's very sweet and adorable, and is like fuzzy with hugs, whereas I'm a spiked pit.
Well, thank you, I think.
And if you can survive the spike pit, then you're a warrior.
Oh, I'm not in V's new Discord. No, I'm not. Someone will have to send me
I'm in V's new Discord, and V's new Discord is the fucking weebly. Is it spicy? No, it's not spicy.
Okay, good. Oh, I'm a weeaboo. That's fine.
No, who's
that's got the... That's it.
I don't know who's got the... I'm not in any particularly spicy Discords. So if anyone has a Discord that is... up my alley, feel free to send me an invite. And if you want me to say a lot of F words regularly on Parts Beyond, then definitely see me. Because ask Aiden. I am on this stream. He's
incredibly
reserved.
Polite comparatively to when we just call each other on Discord.
Yes. If we could only find a way to stream outside of YouTube, where it's like
we could get on Rumble or whatever.
Like,
but
yeah, where I will just I'll say a lot of shit that I can't say.
Anywho.
Yes, he did create out of spite, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Let's get into the Don't Say Gay bill. We'll read this NBC outline of it because they, of course. Well, no, the left is the one who came up with that.
I know, but it's still funny.
Don't say gay. No, it's that you can't teach kids about butt fucking and things like that before the age of 10.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Is that a big ask? Apparently, it's a big ask.
How do you actually feel about that? About schools
what do you mean?
Teaching sex ed? Because I'll be honest, I don't think schools should ever teach anything sexual. I think that's exclusively to be for parents.
I do think it should be the parents' job. The problem... Okay. The problem that you're going to run into and where people will have a contention is that a lot of parents are awful and they do expect the state to raise their children. Now, that's stupid as fuck. But if you don't teach children any sex ed in schools and their parents don't teach them either, then you're going to end up with probably higher prevalence of STDs, higher prevalence of teen pregnancy, stuff like that. By the way, I think sex ed doesn't work, but that's the argument. As I think I started my whole statement there is that's the way people feel, and that's the kind of argument. And I'm not sure if that's correct or not. Actually, really, I'm not. I'm not sure if handing out condoms helps. When we have seen, some of these rates go down, but some other rates rise. So I'm really not sure. I think. There's this what's it called?
It actually makes it worse, by the way.
Well, because of psychological reactants, potentially.
No, the sex ed thing. I was reading Thomas Sowell's book, Vision of the Anointed, and there's a whole chapter in about sex ed and the state. And when the state got involved, the STDs went flying through the fucking roof. So it makes it worse. I don't know why, but that was the case. Hold on, let's see if I can pull it up here.
There's also something called... There's a couple of things that are at play when you talk about adolescents, right? And younger kids, not younger kids, I mean, post-pubescent teens, excuse me. People the kind of age that you should be teaching this to, post-pubescent teens. One, whenever you tell kids what to do, they always gotta do the opposite. That's a psychological reactance effect. There's also this thing called the adolescent invulnerability hypothesis. And there's a couple different names for it, but adolescent invulnerability. And there's this tendency within adolescents that they feel as if nothing can touch them. It's why you'll find teenagers drive really fast, why they'll do crazy amounts of drugs, why they'll have unprotected sex, because first of all, their brain chemistry is all fucked, which makes it difficult for them to make long-term decisions. And therefore, they also have this sense that nothing can touch them and nothing can harm them, and will make really, really bad decisions. So
I still have that.
But that is a clinical, if you want to call it, clinical aspect of adolescent, of being an adolescent. So that they're going to do that kind of no matter what. And when you tell them what they can't do, it may encourage them to do that more potentially. Also, Jarnegi for 5 says, I'm surprised no one used that South Park clip where Mr. Garrison taught kindergartners Shrek's Ed to prove a point. I don't even remember that clip. Although,
I know the one that they're talking about.
Yeah? I'll look it up. We obviously can't play it.
It's basically where Mr. Garrison teaches kids how to put on a condom.
Oh my god, I do remember that.
Yes,
Thank you, Jarnegi, by the way.
And he uses his mouth to do it.
Yep, I remember that. Never mind, I do remember that.
Kids start screaming. Oh my god, dude! The amount of shit that South Park has said that you could just use as a reference in like the last, say, I was still in school.
That's why I use it in so many videos.
Shit. Yeah,
the South Park and The Simpsons. Like, there's so much stuff that they called or that it is currently poor Lemmy Wings, or that is still currently currently relevant. It's very bizarre that they were able to predict society going down the shitter.
Yeah.
Anyway,
my favorite one is oh my god, I would love to play this just on loop to a bunch of trans people. Is that one where they're at like the sex change, and he says, "You don't have a womb, you don't produce eggs."
Right. I remember this.
Yeah, so I'm not really a woman. I'm just a guy with a mutilated penis. Basically, yes.
Basically, yeah, because Mr. Garrison goes in, or excuse me, Mrs. Garrison goes in and asks when he's going to get his period.
Mr. Garrison, that's just not be.
Wasn't it?
Word here. No, just for.
Who was it?
No, for the sake of.
Was it Mr. Slave?
No,
it wasn't.
No, I'm saying stop buying into the language. Use the honest truth, which is that as a guy.
Oh yeah.
I will not call that someone a female. Bollocks to you.
I was saying in the episode that was Mrs. Garrison.
Yes.
And because Mrs. Garrison's like, when am I going to get my period? Yeah, I remember that episode.
I'm still haunted by the noises, Mrs. Garrison trying to go to the lavatory. Oh, the nightmares.
Speaking of which, let's get into this article. We have spent almost a half an hour. We did look at the one thing. Looking at the headline.
God, we're becoming Adam and Sitch, aren't we? We already have the same initials.
I know. Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, until I said it to her, they were like, "Oh my god, we do even have the same initials." Like, yeah.
It wasn't on purpose. It feels on purpose, but I swear to God, it was not on purpose. The Florida Senate passed a bill Tuesday that would prohibit classroom discussion about sexual orientation and gender identity in the state's primary schools. The measure, dubbed the "Don't Say Gay" bill by its opponents, was passed by the State House last month, and now heads to Republican Gov. Ron DeSantis, who had previously expressed support for it. This is going to endanger the safety of our LGBTQ students and adolescents, Senator Annette Taddeo, a Democrat, of course, said during a Tuesday debate. We will not stop until the state moves forward and actually values everyone in it, everyone no matter their sexual orientation. LGBTQ third graders under the age of 10.
You know, when I hear shit like this, I want to say things, which is like...
These are significantly prepubescent. Puberty starts around 12, for most kids. 12, 13.
It makes me want to make my sort of a Papa Stalin kind of argument. And I'm not saying I advocate for this, but before I have to say that because it sounds what I'm about to say is going to sound nuts.
I know. I'm anticipating it.
But if you had an authoritarian leader, you wouldn't have the shit. I'm not saying you should have one because it's a bad idea, but there needs to be a middle ground where because
I don't want a dictator.
No, I said.
I know you don't.
But I said this statement beforehand. The problem with
that's why you don't have this issue in China, by the way.
Yes, that's so not a good thing.
It's why you don't have this issue in Russia. Speaking of autocrats, we're going to talk about Russia a lot today, obviously. But it's why you don't have these issues in Russia.
But here's the thing. and nobody in the West wants to talk about it because they have no balls, in some cases quite literally, is that if you don't have people speaking from the middle ground about this and just saying, this is ridiculous shit, fucking stop this, what is going to happen is that the person on the extreme, these fucking psychopath, abominations, they will run with the extreme. And because no one from the middle ground is arguing for it, someone on the extreme other end will rise. And because no one from the middle ground is willing to do jack fucking shit, that extreme at the other end is going to seem viable. And
I have been saying this.
That is where shit will go really, really south.
I have been seeing that coming and saying that, to people for years now, that will be the end result, is that the Overton window will shift, and when it shifts, it's going to shift really hard. It's going to shift in a direction that I'm not in favor of, by the way, because it's going to be more authoritarianism. But you've pushed for this so hard, it's going to go back the other way. Because, and now I do agree with you that it is, and with Frag in the chat, that it is time to say enough is enough. And all of this bill is, unfortunately, is what I called it initially, and when we started this, is it's a stopgap. And it's all the conservatives can really do, and all they have done in the United States for a long time now is just kind of find a point where it's like, that's too far, stop. And they stop it, and then 5 years later, well, that was an unreasonable decision because we've progressed so much. Progress never stops. It marches eternal. There's never an end point where these people will be. That's the thing that people need to, I'm sure most people here know, but that people in the center need to figure out. Progress never stops. There's never a place where the left will be satiated. Never. It never happens. Conservatives want to conserve and stay, in the past, in respective to the constant march forward of, quote, progress. But the progressive left, it never stops. There's always a new battle. Because it's the eternal revolution. It's part of the ideology. The revolution must continue forever. You have to always have people be angry and revolting, because that's what stops them from questioning the system that they live in. Not really really seriously questioning it and wondering what they're doing. Just revolt, just get angry all of the time. I mean, this was the point of the Red Guard, right? Basically, like the young people constantly in revolt, but also, despite the revolting Red Guard, their other job is to keep the people in power, right? That's exactly what we find in the West now. Because they're not fighting back against Joe Biden. They don't fight back against the American system. Not really. They complain about it, but they absolutely support the liberal hegemony. As much as they claim to hate liberals and that kind of stuff, Anywho.
I'm trying to find, who was that? There was a reverend from the 1800s. From the late 1800s. He was, hold on. I can't remember his name. I forget his name every fucking time. I can see his face. Molbug references him. When it comes to conservatism, that conservatives conserve fuck all. And they basically just stand as a bulwark for a temporary thing where
it's leftism going the speed limit.
Yes.
Right?
But he had a way of framing it brilliantly, and it made me realize that conservatism as a force is fucking weak. Because republicanism is shit for defending this crap. You can't have a republic defend this. You need a monarch. You need.
Well, that's how you and I both came to that sort of conclusion.
You need a cultural bulwark that isn't susceptible. Like, I hate saying this because
it also is not a dictator.
Yes, but I hate the way this sounds because it sounds really elitist. But you need someone who is above the peasantry. That you do, because
the reason why, and it sounds really elitist and fucked up, but the reality is that that's how we see politicians anyway. They're celebrities, right? We treat them as above. We do though.
That's the fucking problem.
We do treat them as above the common folk, right? They're still treated that way regardless of them being one of us. Of course they're not one of us. First of all, even if you have your AOCs, first of all, she was selected, she was chosen for that. She's an actress. But for the most part, politicians are career politicians. They were born into wealth. They were born into political dynasties. They're already set up for that position for the most part, either through wealth or through political power that is already born into their family. we're already not selecting from us, for the most part, not from the rabble, right? Oh, nice.
Yes, as Robert Louis Dabney. He was Southern Presbyterian pastor, Christian theologian, Confederate States Army chaplain. So he's pro-slavery. Not that you should hold that against him. But you actually said something that's pretty based. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Like I want to read this because this was said in, I think this was said in the late 1800s. And it's still fucking true even to this day. It says, it may be inferred again that the present movement of women's rights, here we go, Aiden, will certainly prevail from the history of its only opponent, Northern conservatism. This is a party which never conserves anything. Its history has been that it demurs to each aggression of the Progressive Party and aims to save its credit by a respectable amount of growling, but always acquiesces at last in the innovation. What was the resisted novelty of yesterday is today one of the accepted principles of conservatism. It is now conservative only in affecting to resist the next innovation, which will tomorrow be forced upon its timidity and will be succeeded by some third revolution, to be denounced and then adopted in its turn. American conservatism is merely the shadow that follows radicalism as it moves towards another perdition. It remains behind it, but never retards it, and always advances near its leader. This pretend salt buttery utterly lost its savor. Wherewith all shall it be salted. Its impotency is not hard, indeed, to explain. It is worthless because it is the conservatism of expediency only, and not of sturdy principle. It intends to risk nothing serious for the sake of the truth, and has no idea of being guilty of the folly of martyrdom. It always, when about to enter a protest, very blandly informs the wild beast whose path it essays to stop that its bark is worse than its bite, and that it only means to save its manners by enacting its decent role of resistance. The only practical purpose which it now subserves in American politics is to give enough exercise to radicalism to keep it in wild, and to prevent it becoming pursy and lazy from having nothing to whip. No doubt, after a few years, when women's suffrage shall become an accomplished fact, conservatism will tacitly admit it into its creed, and thenceforth plume itself upon its wise firmness in opposing with similar weapons the extreme of baby suffrage, and when that too shall have been won, it will be heard declaring that the integrity of the American Constitution requires at least the refusal of suffrage to donkeys. There it will assume with great dignity its final position.
Wow, base. When was that written?
I think the late 1800s.
Yeah, from his topics of discussion, it sounds like it. Because of course that did all happen, obviously.
Yes.
And then
because when he died in 1896.
Right. So yeah, mid to late, probably 1800s.
Yes.
And of course, an interesting thing that he brought up there that I think is really worth pointing out is that not only does conservatism basically it doesn't really conserve anything, it's just trying to stop it. It actually gives the left something to scream against, to be like, look, there it is. There's a thing we're fighting against, even though it's totally, moved from what you were fighting against before. It's interesting, though. He makes some good points in that.
Someone said that I mishear what Spoon says slavery is based. I did not say slavery is based. I said the guy who was pro-slavery is based. It doesn't mean I endorse the slavery. He just said some shit that happened to be based. He also happens to have been a slaver. I don't need to. I don't need to be a fan of
some
everything.
of the things he said. No, right. You can say something correct. You can be immoral and unethical and say something. And still be correct, broken clock and all that, but that was correct about how that part in particular I found interesting about how we actually, by being conservative, just existing and saying, well, hang on a minute now, can you slow down on that, because that's crazy and will destroy society, then that makes them go, oh, my rights are being limited here. And that's what we're seeing right here with this bill, right? I have a video too, that's why I wanted to get to it. But let's finish that was cool. Thank you for bringing that up. Interesting, at least, right?
But that is that's the kind of thing that bugs me about the left, is that they tear away at absolutely everything under the guise of, well, you'll get something out of it. The assumption behind the left's absolute destructionism is that there is nothing that keeps society together, and you are a fucking retard if you think that.
I mean, that's part of it. Part of it is that everything that is I think more
Like
more
everything
accurately,
currently in place is offensive. Like fuck off.
it's not. It's oppressive.
Oh,
That
shut
all
up.
of these. No, I'm trying to explain where they come
I
from.
know, but it's rubbish.
In good faith. I am trying to be in good faith because I have read a lot of what leftists think, and so they see these antiquated structures as all oppressive in some way or another. They're oppressive against race. They're oppressive against sex. They're oppressive against class. And of course, all the former two I mentioned are based on the latter one, because all of this comes out of, Marx Engelian kind of theory, and some of it's their predecessors as well. But that's where that all comes out of, the modern aspect of it. So it all has to be deconstructed. It all has to be destroyed, because as long as we maintain any of these current systems, God, as soon as I came back, my voice started dying again. I don't know why. I think there's like dust in this house because it got my freaking cough came back as soon as I got home from Birmingham. But anyway, it's all about, everything has to be destroyed there, and there's no end. Again, it never ends. The next thing has to be deconstructed. The next thing has to be deconstructed. Once you deconstruct that, then the deconstruction has to be deconstructed. It's
a loop.
Well, I would call it a death cult.
Or that, yeah.
Because it's about just anything that is good and pure has to be dissected. It can't just be something that's pure, like children, for example. Like you can't. That's why they have to push this shit onto children, because children can't be innocent. Because here's the thing: if a child is innocent and adults are not innocent, guess what that is, Spoon? That's an inequality. An inequality, all inequalities from this mindset are bad. So therefore, I'm not saying all leftists think this, by the way, but I'm saying this is how you get to these weird kind of arguments, right? All inequality is bad. Children are pure, adults are impure. Therefore, we must make children impure because that's how we level the playing field. It's the same thing where it's like, let's say, for example, some people are more talented than other people. That's unfair. That's unequal. So we have to make everybody equally untalented or equally low, because we can't raise everyone up. They've kind of figured that out at some point. I think really a lot of leftist philosophers figured out very, very early on. You cannot make people better than beyond their physical, mental capacity. You can't make someone more beautiful than they are, right? Let's talk about physical attractiveness, right? Sure, now we can do plastic surgery and stuff like that, and there is an option. But there's some stuff that you just can't really get past, right? You're not gonna, some people are born more attractive than others. And so the operative way to fix the inequality is to make everybody lower. It's the Harrison Bergeron sort of, paradigm, the Kurt Vonnegut story.
But I like being pretty. I like being pretty.
I know. But my point is, that's why they have to do this stuff with children, right? That's why they have to corrupt children and teach them about sexual kinks and stuff like that. Because they're fucked up, so everyone has to be fucked up. That's how you create equality.
I have a fun solution to this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Get a whole bunch of really, I won't say redneck, but really red state parents, and arm their children.
Well, I think they are arming their children.
Yeah, but I mean with weaponry, not just fancy words.
No, I mean with weaponry.
Oh, okay, yeah, because then
You've never been to the Deep South, have you?
No.
We go hunting down there.
Yeah,
These kids who learn how to use a rifle from the age of 6.
I also think that's why there is less crime in heavy gun areas. It's because if you are raised with a gun from a young age, you understand that that's not a toy.
Heavy gun areas where guns are owned illegally, lots of crime. Heavy gun areas where guns are owned legally, not so much.
Basically around white people.
Sorry, I had to cough. Well, it's outside of cities.
So basically white people.
There's a statistical correlation
white people
there, sure.
tend to be more rural, yeah. Because
anyway.
white people like to be with their own kind, away from other people.
Let me get through this because I want to show you this video.
I can hear that I'm making you uncomfortable and it is making
you didn't actually make me No, I mean, no, you're right. Statistically, you're correct. But it's statistics that make people uncomfortable. Not me. It's just I know it makes other people uncomfortable. I don't want to
I'm extremely comfortable with statistics.
Me too. That's my job. And my passion is statistics, but that can upset people's feelings because people can't understand. It's sometimes difficult.
None of those people are in our chat.
Just if anyone is listening and gets upset by statistics, just understand statistics only refer to an aggregate and an average. It never refers to an individual person. If we're talking about statistics, particularly if I am talking about statistics, guys, I am never talking about an individual person ever. Anyway,
if you're offended by statistics, you are gay and grow up.
If you're offended by them, you need to think about what they mean. Anyway, the Parental Rights in Education Bill, which was passed in both legislative bodies, largely along party lines, has added fuel to the latest American culture war, which has put students in its crosshairs. Not really. It's trying to, with a combination of book
really
bans.
That's really inflammatory language, isn't it? Students in its crosshairs.
It's NBC. The combination of book bans. We went through the books that were banned. And they weren't actually banned. They were just removed from the curriculum. You can still get them in the libraries. If they're in the library, then you can get it. It's fine for students to rent these out. They didn't ban the books. They removed them from curriculum. That's all they did. And some of the books are really freaking weird, too. Okay?
They make it sound like kids are dying to read this shit. Like, kids don't fucking read these days.
No kid, for the most part, is going to go out of their way to read a book. And by the way, a lot of them were like just straight up gay romance novels. They were teen romance novels that included depictions of gay sex and straight sex, neither of which should be in fucking schools. I don't care if it's straight sex or gay sex. It shouldn't be in school curriculum. And honestly, I don't want Twilight in a school library, okay? Obviously not. Same stuff. Pride flag removals. Well, why would you have it in your classroom? And bills targeting the LGBTQ youth. Good thing they're not specific about what that means. Thank you for not being specific, NBC. The measure has even grabbed the attention of international newspapers. Who cares? Scrolling down. Supporters of the bill say it's about allowing parents to have control over their children's education. That is what is in the bill. The bill is explicit that is its purpose. In its wording, it's clear. It's about let parents make these decisions about when children should learn these things. It's not the place of teachers in children under the age of 10. Well, opponents say it unfairly targets the LGBTQ community. Where are the LGBTQ 10-year-olds? I'd say that's raising flags for me. Well, how did that happen? What?
I don't think I can give you the answer on this format.
Yeah, well, you know what the answer is, because I'm sorry. Why are children being sexual before? And I'm openly sexual before puberty.
Drag.
Something is weird there. If you've got so many children who are sexual and have a sexual orientation before they've gone through puberty. Weird. We'll get into that later.
Everyone who pushes us crap should be in prison or on a list. I don't care. Like, no, there's just if you have any intention of teaching, frankly, anyone like under the age of like 13 anything sexual, you are. I hope there is a hell so you go there and rot for all eternity because that's where you belong.
Ugh. I have to believe there's a hell just for that reason. Quote, this bill says parents, your right to raise your children does not end when they walk into the classroom. This bill recognizes that parents are not the enemy, said Republican Senator Danny Burgess ahead of the 22-17 vote on Tuesday. The bill simply says that there should be an age limit on certain discussions. It's not a new concept, nor is it radical. You're correct. I read the bill. That's what it says. The measure bans, quote, classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through third grade.
I can't find out what the fucking hell you're reading.
I just scroll down.
No, I got that. I'm just trying to find out where the hell you're reading from.
The NBC article?
Yes, I know what I'm trying to find. Where the hell?
Give
me a word so I can search.
Prohibits. It also prohibits such teaching in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students, which critics say could be interpreted to extend to all grade levels. So you're being like, well, they might do this with it. That's not in the bill. That's not in the... When that happens, if that happens, get mad about that. That's not in this bill.
Ooh, parents
Why?
can sue
It's
the
this
school district.
fucking
That's fun.
whataboutism. Yeah, parents can sue. But that's what like Vito was talking about in his discussion with Ricade. It's like, oh, so if a teacher reads a story about two gay dads and they can sue the school, that's not going to happen. But that's not going to happen. In a million years, it's not going to fucking happen. Now, if the teacher gets caught trying to teach kids how to put condoms on to have gay anal sex in 3rd grade, yeah, they can and should sue the school. And I'm going to play you guys a video here in a minute of a kindergarten teacher who's real upset about this. You can see the kind of... we'll go through it.
Degeneracy.
You can just see the kind of guy he is. The kind of things he says. I don't think he says anything extreme,
Does he have the voice of that guy that I sent you earlier?
Yes.
Of course he does. Why does every single... I want to know, why is it that every one of these fucking people fit this weird stereotype, especially around their vocals? Why do they all have the same fucking whiny, high-pitched voice?
Do you want to know what Dr. Drew's explanation is for when women do that?
Okay, go on.
So, I think Dr. Drew calls it, little girl voice. I think that's...
I already don't like where this is going.
Okay, yeah, it's little girl voice. So on Loveline, back in the day, did you ever listen to Loveline?
I feel like you're even asking me that question, you know my answer.
Right. No, but Loveline was interesting. It was an old radio show, 90s, 2000s radio show. And
Can you hear
people
that?
just call in... Huh?
Can you hear that?
No.
Because if anyone can hear that outside, my was fucking hail just banging the window.
We had some the other day. Anyway, so what Dr. Drew would always do is that they have a caller and they pick up the phone and they'd be like, hey, Loveline, you're on the air. What's your question? It's like, hey, Dr. Drew, I was just wondering, me and my boyfriend. And then Dr. Drew'd be like, so when were you molested? Like, just cut her off. And just say, when were you molested? And I've listened to so many episodes of Loveline, and every time it's the same song and dance, right? Oh, no, I was never, no, never. And then 10 minutes later, when I was 6, when I was 5, when I was 7, and it was, it's because Drew had been working with patients for so long, and his hypothesis was that their voice kind of froze at the age they were when they were molested, right? And there's no empirical studies on that. Of course, that's just, observation from one psychologist or psychiatrist. But maybe that's that same thing if people put on a weird high-pitched voice, that it might be a sign of molestation. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that definitively. But that is what Dr. Drew says about the little girl voice, at least.
I think it's a sign that you want to molest people. In this case, children,
yeah.
You sick bunch of bastards.
It's bizarre.
Sorry, that Brian's for $5. Do either of you believe anything short of focused physical violence can create any kind of pragmatic social change? What are they? Nice stream, by the way. Yes, I am totally in favor of kicking the living shades of shite out of these people.
Okay, so we disagree. I'm against violence. I'm a lolbert still to this day. But
so am I, but there comes a point where how do you enforce it? And if they don't play nice, there's a phrase in Afrikaans, as jy nie wil hoor nie moet jy voel, which is, if you won't listen, you will feel.
Okay, interesting.
Which is a very based phrase. It's like, you will listen, but if you don't listen, you'll get an ass kicking, and I think that's that's very fair. Because you need to have some physical repercussions for the shit, because if people don't listen, then you need to do something that is going to make them listen.
I think it's probably inevitable that things are heading into a violent direction. I hope they're not, but I at some point I can't think of I don't want it to again, but I think that it probably is going to head in that direction.
They're already threatening you with physical interactions. If you can't,
they threaten us. They threaten us. They threaten to take away people's children. They have locked people up. The January 6th, the truckers, they lock people up without really any legal repercussion for them. Of course, there's not for them ever. Mm-hmm. Also, I just wanted to point out real quick to Alexander Martinez. I think, as I mentioned this, I don't think there's any study on that little girl voice stuff, but it's just Dr. Drew, and he's a practicing clinical psychiatrist, and that's his hypothesis. He should study it, or somebody should. And Brian, it says for 2, Aiden, what are the other options? I don't know.
canon.
No, I think it's going to head in a violent direction. I think people are going to get sick of it. Yeah, I think people are going to get sick. People are going to get sick of it. People are going to get sick of it. And I don't know what else to do.
Can you imagine an army of pissed off parents just beating the shit out of LGBT people? That'd be fucking funny. I don't care what anyone says. That would be funny.
I don't think it'd be funny. I don't think it'd be funny.
Oh my god! Can you not just see like just sprinkles of colors everywhere, just getting their asses kicked? How's that not funny? Picture that in your head. Just picture it in your head right now and think it's not funny. I'm laughing.
It's like a rainbow explode, like a bunch of pinatas, but
fucking glitter everywhere.
But that's terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible. Disavow. The void that bites says violence is not the answer. It is a question. The answer is always yes.
I like this chat. This chat's fucking based.
Void that bites. I think we got probably the most out of this article. Is there anything else in here that's interesting? Because I want to show you this video. Is there anything else here? Yeah. It's a little bit. Okay. In a tearful address to the Senate on Monday, Democrat Shervin Jones, the first openly gay Florida senator, urged his colleagues to narrow the bill's language to say instruction should not be intended to change a student's sexual orientation or gender identity.
Blood and glitter.
So talk to them. So you can still talk to. By the way, kindergarten to third grade. So 4-year-olds. So please let the teachers talk to 4-year-olds about butt sex. But just don't try to convince them that it's good. And how would you possibly write that into a curricula, into the curricula? How could you possibly instruct teachers on how to teach about it, but don't change their minds? I don't know. It seems odd to me. I ask that you open up your hearts just a tad bit, he said, noting the name-calling and shunning he faces a gay man. Well, that sucks. I am sorry. Please do no harm. They're trying to do no harm, man. That's the whole point. They're trying to do no harm. Last week, students across Florida staged school walkouts in protest against the bill, which they decried as the state's latest measure to limit the rights of LGBTQ students. The language and supporters of the bill and the rhetoric around the bill really shows what this bill is. It's an attempt to hurt queer people like me, high school senior Jack Petosh said. Petosh, who organized the statewide protests through social media, told NBC News he was suspended indefinitely for distributing 200 pride flags for the rally after having been advised not to do so by the principal. You were told not to do something, you did it anyway, suspended. Whatever.
I feel like the person who says, oh, these people are discriminating against me, they need to just say, so what?
You understand that kid did that to get suspended. He was told not to do something, he did it anyway so he could get suspended and then play the victim.
Attention, yeah.
Yep.
See, this is why I want to say F words.
Yeah, I know.
Because this is the best way to describe it.
If you want to say one now, wait 5 minutes till we get into the video.
Well, then I can say it?
No, but it's going to be worse. The bill's fate is now with DeSantis, who signaled his support for the measure for at least a second time when questioned by a reporter, blah, blah, blah. I think, yeah, we're good. I just want to talk to the students a little bit. Let's watch the video. It's up on the Watch Together if you want to bring it up. We have a Florida teacher's response to this. And Frog said, dude, I love getting suspended in high school. Are you kidding? It wouldn't impact him in any way. He's way outside the age range. Yeah, it wouldn't have impacted this kid. He was 17 or 18, right? He's a senior. So he's just doing that to, senior. He's doing that to get a week off school, obviously. You ready?
Yeah, you can play, by the way.
All right.
Joining me now is Corey Bernard, a kindergarten teacher at Barbara A. Harvey Elementary in Paris.
Just be clear, kindergarten teacher.
Florida. He is openly gay and has spoken.
Look at the stuff behind him. Look at what kind of kids. What he's teaching the kids.
His classroom.
Numbers, letters. Can you not see it? I'm just saying. The kind of content. My mom is a preschool teacher, so I'm used to seeing this kind of stuff. It's apple, number, letter. You know, that's.
I can't see what's up behind. It's 40, 50. Okay, it's a numbers table. Never mind.
Numbers tables. Yeah, okay. The blue thing behind him. It's a calendar.
Corey, thank you so much for joining us.
The one on the right.
This morning. We appreciate it. Just give me first.
Yeah, it's twofold. It really hits hard in my heart professionally and personally.
Why? Why are you so upset you can't?
It truly makes me feel like I am not trusted as a professional.
Because you want.
Not if you want to teach kindergartners about gay sex. then you shouldn't. And if it's upsetting you, it hurts your heart,
The chat is
then something
spelling the
weird's
F
going on.
word. Base chat, don't stop.
I know my kindergarten standards through and through, and nowhere in our curriculum does it have anything about teaching sexual orientation or sexual identity.
Perfect. Then why are you upset?
Why are you upset then? I don't get it.
Perfect. It doesn't say anything in your curriculum. Exactly, it doesn't. So why are you upset that you can't?
Oh, by the way,
What?
just to say this, I will play Tetris later. It's too annoying.
All right. Yes, Spoon will end the stream with some Tetris. So if you're not doing it and it's not in your curriculum, why are you upset that you can't do it?
This is like
That's
the
the
CRT
question.
thing all over again.
Precisely.
Mm.
If you're not doing it, why are you getting upset when you're told you can't do it?
So for them to say that's happening, it's kind of crazy. But we should be able to have discussions.
Is it kind of
That's
crazy?
what we're encouraged to do in kindergarten. And then personally, because
Encouraged to do. I mean, I'm assuming he means teaching and not with the students.
Yeah, I think he's, yeah.
Okay, because that just sounds fucking
my
creepy.
kids do have questions.
Yeah, hang on, I want to go back because I want to hear that whole statement again, if you don't mind.
That's happening. It's kind of crazy. But we should be able to have discussions, and that's what we're encouraged to do in kindergarten. And then
No, it sounds like he's talking with the kindergartners. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're having discussions with kindergartners,
No,
dude. Like,
absolutely not.
they're a year earlier. They're still shitting their pants. Okay, like these are the age of kids you're talking about. These are kids who are just out of diapers, and he wants to have a discussion with them about sexuality.
Wood chipper.
I think you're a creep.
Wood chipper. Wood chipper.
personally,
Cannon.
because my kids do have questions. They want to know who my partner is in pictures outside of my.
I find
But that's fine.
His language
That's not in the bill.
bugs me.
Hang on, what he just said, that's not a part of the bill. If they ask him, can you show us a picture of your husband or your partner or whatever, your wife, if they ask
No,
that.
they don't.
Fucking sorry about the motorcycle. Anyway,
I don't
I opened the
believe
window
that, by the
because
way.
my allergies are so bad. Anyway,
I
no, I don't believe it.
The extent of
Kids-
them asking is maybe just who is that, and that's as far as it fucking goes.
probably if he has a picture or something, they'll be like,
Yes.
"Who's that?" Yeah, I know. My mom's a preschool teacher, and I've, seen her teach class many times. I am not good with kids because I'm just always very awkward because I'm always terrified that like I'll say something, and I told that story where my mom brought me in. I think I've told this. She was like, "Oh, I have this Japanese girl. She doesn't speak any English. Can you come in and like just be a friend? Like just say some stuff to her in Japanese so that like she doesn't feel alone, you know?" And so when I would, from my lunch breaks when I was at work, I'd come in sometimes and stop in and say hi. And I mean, the first day though, like the first day I did that, she just started crying, and it must have been because like this like unfamiliar white woman walked up to you and spoke to you in Japanese. It must have been weird, right? It had to have been scary for her. She was from Japan. She'd been there for 3 months. She didn't speak. She spoke like 3 words of English, you know? So, yeah. But I'm always terrified of, from someone who has background in psychology, of being like, oh, I hope I don't fucking traumatize this child by saying the wrong thing. Whereas these people don't seem to have any concern for it, right? They have no concern if they damage a child psychologically, longitudinally.
They're trying to put sex on the children. Of course they don't give a fuck.
Horrifying.
Exactly.
Avoid the Bites says, a brother acolyte, bring me the flamer, the heavy flamer. Hans, the Flammenwerfer.
Put the church quote in the description. Which church quote?
I'm not sure.
Classroom and able to speak to that.
So do you worry that you won't even be able to talk about your own personal home life? I mean, I have a child in kindergarten right now. I know exactly that my...
Why the hell do you need to talk about your home life to your freaking students, you creepy ass
Well,
bastard?
they might ask, but by the way, the bill does not restrict that. If the children ask him about his husband and he wants to talk about it, it's fine. That's not prohibited in the bill. What's prohibited is making it part of the curriculum. That's the issue. So they're lying.
My child has
because they always have to lie. They always have to fucking lie.
Two teachers, one of which has a daughter at home and is single. The other is married and has 4 children. I know everything about their lives because my kid tells me.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. That's what we do as educators. We build relationships with our kids. And in order to build relationships, you talk about your home life. You talk about what you do on the weekends.
I mean, like, here, I'll tell you something. Personal story.
Did you? Okay, I just want to ask you and anyone in the chat. Did any of you? Because I was actually quite close with the teachers that I had in South Africa. I never once did I ask them anything to do with their home life or their sexual orientation or fuck all.
No,
so this to me is bullshit.
It is weird, but I will say, like, okay, so sometimes I'll have to call my mom for something, or just because I want to call her, and because I'm 5 hours ahead of her time, I'll forget what time it is in the U.S. and I'll call her while she's at work. And if I call her while she's at work, sometimes she'll be like, say hello to my daughter, and she'll put me on speakerphone, and they'll go, hi, Miss, Aiden, and stuff like that. And I'll go, hi, that kind of stuff. That's fine. Like, and I don't think anyone would mind if his husband, no, it's not in the law, or it's not in the bill. If his husband calls him and he says, say hello, that's fine. It wouldn't be an issue. The law, the bill is about making it part of the core curriculum. That's the issue. Not what I just said. If the kids ask, it's fine. That is not what's being limited here. So again, this is a lie and a misrepresentation of the freaking bill.
It's really creepy the way that they're trying to make the teachers seem like parental figures.
Well, that's the whole point, is they want to replace parents with the state.
Yes, but the way that they're doing it to me is just really fucking weird, because
it's creepy, right?
Yes, because I never looked at any of my teachers and like that. Okay, one teacher, because the one teacher was very, very nice to me, to the point where like it actually pissed off other students.
I mean, I was
a very sweet and nice child growing up. And
unbelievable! Wow, did you turn out this way?
Everyone annoyed me. Like, once I got out of school, I was like, oh my god. I was the kid that always had like reverence for adults up until I got older and started reading politics, and I went, oh my god, people are fucking dumb as hell.
Yeah, and
then that kind of went by the wayside, and now I don't think that I'm smarter than everyone else, but if
when
I
you're an only child,
past the coof, yeah. But
you're an only child too, right?
Yes.
That's an only child thing, because I was always, because you don't have other kids, so you like you try to relate to adults more. And so I was always like very close with my teachers. I liked, well, not all of them. Some of them I fucking hated, but I always liked. I guess I was a bit of a teacher's pet. Who's really surprised though by that?
I was just a very quiet kid.
I was quiet too.
Yeah, I wasn't a very noisy kid. I was the very well behaved one, for the most part.
If I was a kid growing up now, and my teachers were telling me this kind of stuff, and I had that reverence for them, well, I think that would be potentially very influential on me. Potentially, I'm not sure how influential, but it might be. And that's teachers never. When I was growing up, that was never.
I think
an issue.
I think this would have made me very rebellious, because it doesn't make any sense. And I don't like being told to do things that make no sense.
There's a thing we're going to get into later.
I didn't have that as a kid so much, because my teachers were sane. I grew up in the 90s, for God's sake.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
in the somewhat sane 90s.
Yes, but if this kind of crap was pushed on me, because my mother is very conservative for the most part, and my mother is like the kind of person that thinks like women need to shut the fuck up, know their place, and men should run things, and women should get the hell out of politics.
Based.
Yeah, mom is actually very old school. And
my mom's a conservative now, but she was a hippie.
But I think if I said this shit to my mother would have fucking kicked up a fuss. My mother would like go up to the school like trying to, I won't say break somebody's legs, but like have a very stern word with someone that they're out of their fucking minds. Which is understandable.
Understandable.
Yeah, because like if I am so glad I don't have a child in this. I
don't have a children.
No. Yeah, but I'm so glad I don't have any kids in this environment, because I would fucking raise hell. Like if someone came to me with my kids and my kids started talking like this, I'm like, whose neck do I need to break? Because if you teach this shit to my kid, I will fuck you up. I will
Well,
happily say to him, I will kick the living shit out of you if you even touch one hair on my kid.
Well, I mean, that's how I would feel. I don't, like, again, I'd like to try and have kids soon, but like, it is scary. It's a scary time. Not so much here. Like, I was just downstairs earlier. We were watching the news, the local news, and it was like they were talking about like a child grooming here on the island, and it was like,
what the fuck? How did it get here?
No, there is none here because everybody knows each other. And people, it's a very, very tight-knit, close community. So it may happen here, but it's not like the US. So it's weird that they're talking about it here, but they're not talking about it in the US, right? How funny. In a scary way. Let's continue.
It scares me to death that I am not going to be able to have these conversations with my children.
Scares him to death.
What I did on the weekend.
That to me is a relief, not a scary thing.
Scares him to death that you can't teach them about what you do on the weekends. You can tell them that you went out to dinner with your husband. You can't tell them about how you had booty sex. Is that what you do? Is that what you tell them? Because that's the part that people have a problem with. So if you're scared to death that you can't do that anymore, then first of all, you shouldn't be a teacher. If that scares you, then you need to be gone. Get out.
Am I the only one that's bugged by men who are gay and extremely feminine? Because I feel like if a guy is gay but he's still like masculine, I'm not at all bothered by it actually.
No, I'm not either.
It's like Dave Rubin. I'll say this right because this is gonna sound fucked up, but I honestly thought this when I first found out that Dave was gay. I swear to God, my immediate reaction was, really? Wow, I felt bad for women. Because Dave is a good-looking guy. Dave is a very handsome dude. So I'm like, wow, this. Huh? Like I just like he would make like pretty children.
Yeah,
that was the thought that went through my head. Like he'd have like a good-looking family.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll ask you a question about this real quick. First of all, Supreme Emperor Keza, thank you for the £5. Says, and hi Keza, how you doing? Chainsaws to all groomers in any media, academia, and Hollywood. Any objections? No. If you're a groomer, into the wood chipper, yeah, I agree. If you're grooming children, fuck you, man. I want to take a quick aside. What do you think about Dave Rubin having just done artificial insemination? Now he's got twins. I'm a little. I mean, the data on same-sex couples raising children, it's not great. But then again, heterosexual couples also abuse their children all the time.
Yes.
So
that to me is not a viable reason to.
No, I know. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I know what you mean, but no, I'm not a fan.
But I like Dave Rubin. I think he's a reasonable guy, but unfortunately, like you can't be like, well, Dave Rubin, I don't really worry about that so much because Dave Rubin's reasonable, and it's not fair to say that. I don't know.
But a kid should have a mother and a father.
I think that both sexes are healthy for the well-being of the development of a child.
I think it's necessary.
Who was saying that thing? Was that something last night that I was listening to where somebody was like, oh, it's so weird that they have something that Ricada was listening to, where someone said it was really weird that they had twins. Well, that's just how artificial insemination often works.
Yeah,
whatever.
Okay,
it was Ethan Ralph. Ethan Ralph got weird about it because Ethan Ralph doesn't
Jeremy's
like.
in the chat
Of course.
and he says that he's gay and agrees with me. I always found that very weird that a gay guy would be attracted to another man that's feminine. Like, I just thought, like, aren't you attracted to men because they're men? It just made no sense to me that you would look for a man that is extremely feminine. Like, but you don't like women. Why would you want an effeminate guy? That never made sense to me.
Well, there's different types of gay guys. They're tops or bottoms, right? There's more masculine.
Why do you need to put this? Why do you need to take dick and be feminine at the same time?
They like penis. That's why.
Yeah, but
it's because of what they like sexually.
Yes, but if you're gay, why do you? If you like the same sex, why do you want someone who behaves like the opposite sex? I don't get that.
Because the woman doesn't have the part that you like sexually.
Yeah, but why does the guy need to behave like a fucking chick? That's the bit I don't get.
Because that's what they like that, maybe emotionally or as a character trait.
But it's weird. Like, if I see two guys who are, like, macho as shit, right? And they're gay, like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Because they're attracted to men, and, like, they're two masculine guys. But one's, like, extremely feminine. My mind just goes, why are you behaving like a chick? You're like other men. I don't get that. That's weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just that's how I would have thought it was the top bottom kind of
Spoon
stuff.
doesn't understand tomboy supremacy. No, I understand tomboys.
Patricia's von Kempen also asked if it's really about the appendage. It might be. I mean, you're attracted to the male body, right? You're attracted to the male body. So, I mean, like, is it really about the female appendage or female lack of one? I should say. I think that's a big deal for a lot of people. Is the,
also
the genitalia.
Tomboys are really, really popular with, I would say, most guys actually.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of guys just think like, oh my god, my chick is like into all like masculine hobbies. That's fucking great.
Oh
like,
right, who
like
was I?
A chick who can like lift weights, drink whiskey, and watch rugby. Oh my fucking god, yes, gimme.
Who the hell
Why
was
is
I
that
saying
bad?
this to
That's
the
the
other day?
shit.
Where somebody asked me this question. Oh, it was you. You asked me this, and you asked me this question, and like just the other day, and I said, yeah, it's because like, well, you want to have someone you can hang out with, you know,
that was
and so
the femboy thing.
But it's the same thing with femboys. You know, that's it's like, well, it's a person I can hang out with.
No. I want a female that can drink and watch rugby. That's what I want. Don't give me this other crap of like, oh, you generate. No. Homegrown female. Yes, I did actually say homegrown from back home. Actually better. But yes, whiskey, rugby, and preferably like fire. Just otherwise known as a South African woman. Like, hello, like, this isn't weird to me.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yes.
Right,
also, tomboys fucking kick ass.
Yeah.
And any guy who says otherwise, there's something wrong with his head. I'm telling you now.
I mean, like, you know, I'm not a tomboy that I'm into sports, but I'm.
Oh hell no! I don't want a typical Aussie kiss. I don't like Aussies. South Africans don't like Aussies. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Homegrown as in home is some South Africa. That's when I mean homegrown.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Let's continue.
Weekend. I don't want to have to hide that my partner and I went paddleboarding this weekend.
What do you mean by paddleboarding?
I was literally thinking the same thing.
if you actually went paddleboarding, no, it's not against the law. If you want to talk about
kayaking,
if you want to talk about some paddleboarding you did in the bedroom, that's what you can't talk about. That's all that the bill says.
Because
someone says we need an AA and tomboy debate now. No, that.
No, thank you. I had a wonderful time with a bunch of the Basque Weaver lads. I like AA. I just thought that debate was really silly.
Entrepreneur. And, you know, I'm worried. Can I tell them what it means? I'm also worried for my kids.
Well, wait, what do you mean? Can I tell them what it means? Now it sounds like you did mean something different by paddleboarding. Let's just let this go. Hang on.
I have a little girl this year who has two moms, and the kids are curious about her two moms. They want to know about her two moms. You know, if they go to her and ask her about her two moms, and she doesn't know what to say, they're going to come to me and ask me.
But you can. That's not part of the bill. Stop lying.
And you know, so what do? It opens up for parents to really take some legal action against the schools and teachers. And I am afraid for myself, my colleagues, and my students.
The only reason you should be afraid is if you intend to break the law. And I think it was Arcade who said this too, and I totally agree with him. The only reason you should be afraid is if you intend to break it. And I guarantee you that in the next month, before this bill goes into effect, this guy and everyone like him is going to sit around and literally cry in front of their children about how the big bad evil bad man, Ron DeSantis, is making it so he can't teach them anymore. And it's not just going to be him talking to freaking 4-year-olds. It's going to be people at every level of government, every level of education, even though this only applies to children under the age of 10.
Can I be a complete arsehole for a second and just like disengage
As always,
the chat
Spoon,
for like?
I would appreciate it if you were.
Yeah. Can I just disengage the chat completely off topic for like 5 minutes?
Real quick before you do,
okay,
I'm going to say Brian for 5 says, "How about teachers just shut up about their boring and uninteresting personal lives and teach curriculum? Is their gay husband going to be on the test?" Thank you, Brian. Exactly.
Yeah. That's
now in kindergarten, they might ask from time to time, but you know. It's not part of the curriculum, and that's all the bill says, is it can't be part of the curriculum. So unless your gay husband is part of the curriculum, then why are you worried and why are you upset? Anyway, Spoon, go ahead. Have at it.
Okay, so someone in the chat, this is going to annoy everyone because no one will know what the fuck I'm saying except the one guy who asked this question. Someone asked, Sealgler asked me, opinion on Lowry for the Ireland team. He's not the biggest fella around. I'm not particularly...
Oh, it's Brain. I'm sorry.
I'm not particularly bothered about the size of the player because if you look around the world, some of the best players we fucking have anywhere are smaller people. Like Cheslin Colby's not the biggest guy in the world. Aaron Smith is fucking insane at 9. Parks, who plays Islands 9 at the moment, he's not the biggest guy. He's fucking great. Mackenzie is fucking magician. And he's not the biggest guy either, but he can fucking move. And he's playing wing. So if you have pace and you have footwork, you can play in the back. That's your fucking job. It's in the modern game we're not so much with the heavy South African bulk that we're so ridiculously obsessed with. There is a case to be made for someone who is of a different stature playing especially 11, 15 and 14. Because if we look at who was the chappie that scored the insane try against Wales, the Italian guy? Like he just broke the defense and just danced around defenders. So I think if you can, the defense is the problem, but on the attack, if it's more focused on not a kicking game, it's more of a keep the ball in hand kind of play, then that kind of player is helpful for that kind of gaming style. So if Ireland is going to move towards a more free open play, which they definitely can, Ireland definitely has the capacity to play with more ball in hand. I mean, they played against New Zealand a couple of months ago and they fucking mauled New Zealand with that kind of game. It was insane. I've never seen New Zealand manhandled like that. It was fantastic. So if you can throw the game in hand and you can play it with that kind of structure and that kind of player, then by all means, if you can play, put him in the team. Yeah,
right.
I'm a sports fan. In case this is
I barely understand, but
yes.
I do understand. I do understand.
Yes, this is rugby. I'm a South African. Liking rugby is part of your national heritage, for God's sake.
I know that man grab is very important to you.
Listen,
and I'm sure that the vuvuzela should be your national instrument.
That's in football, not rugby. Like, how dare you?
Isn't it the same thing?
Oh my God, no, it is not.
I'm sorry. I got dive grass confused with man grab.
This is, oh my God, this is like calling an American a Canadian.
I'm sorry that I got dive grass confused with man grab.
Can you at least use the right fucking names?
Dive grass being football, and man grab being rugby. Yes.
By the way, afterwards, I'd like to see you go up to a rugby player and call him gay and see how long you last. Because he'll likely feed you your asshole. They're about 105 kg, about 6'2" on average, so I wouldn't question the guy's sexuality because he'll kick your ass.
Speaking of feeding you your asshole, let's finish this.
How do you expect that situation? Because for as a parent of a young child, I want to celebrate.
You fucking insult rugby, you will earn my ire.
Now look what you guys have done.
Difference, and I want my child to celebrate differences as well and to learn about them.
Oh, really?
I want my child to learn absolute supremacy of one particular group.
Absolutely. You know, it's hard to navigate, especially
no, it's not.
When you
just don't talk about gay sex.
That are injecting, indoctrinating. When you have those words coming from, our state legislators and our higher government, those words.
Why is it so difficult?
Those are synonymous with some very hurtful words. And
hurtful? Is it because that's what you're doing and you recognize it? You just don't want to be caught?
I still want to play rugby clips on the side, not just to fucking troll the chat.
Dude, Spoon, is that just not what it sounded like? That he's like, don't use these words to describe what I'm doing. It hurts my feelings. Because that's what you're doing. He didn't say it was wrong.
I don't give a shit about his feelings.
He didn't, but here's the thing. He didn't say it was wrong. He didn't say that's incorrect. He said it hurts my feelings when you describe it that way. To me, that says that he's like, yeah, I mean, that's basically what I'm doing, but just don't call it that. Use more polite words to describe my fucking indoctrination.
And so when I think about navigating this bill, I am going to be mindful,
Navigating.
but I'm
I
going
hate that word
to
too.
follow my kids' discretion and what they want to discuss. And if they ask me, I'm going to be true and honest to them because it's who I am.
You're allowed to. You're allowed to under this bill. If they ask you a question, you're allowed to. It can't be part of your core curriculum. That's it.
You are. Corey Bernard, we celebrate who.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. We celebrate you. Yeah. Whatever. Speaking of which, I did want to bring up this. I have this slightly out of order, but here's the next article I want to bring up just real quick. It's related to this.
I'm like fucking pissed now.
It's related. I just wanted to bring this up because oh my god. This is what'll happen.
To be fair to him, he does look like a shady bastard.
I'm gonna get into the Disney stuff in a moment, but I wanted to bring up this because I feel like it's kind of a good segue, actually.
Jamie Wallace, Tory MP, comes out as trans and reveals rape and blackmail ordeal. What the fuck?
Yep.
Oh, what the hell? Hold on a second. Let me just change this one.
So remember, none of this has anything to do with grooming. In any way. There's no grooming going on here whatsoever. There's no relationship at all between severe sexual misconduct.
We have some rugby fans in the chat. I'm happy.
So,
go on.
Conservative
Sorry, I'm
MP,
totally putting out of your way here.
A conservative MP has come out as trans and revealed he was the victim of rape and blackmail in a highly personal statement posted on Twitter.
That is the worst place to put that, by the way.
Why would you do? Why would you tell? Why? Bridget MP.
That's getting attention.
Yes. Also, he's a Tory dude. I mean,
Tories are basically puffs.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would expect this from Labor. You know what I mean? I would expect it from Labor, right? But still.
Yeah.
Bridget MP Jamie Wallace revealed details of a £50,000 blackmail plot described to being, can I say this word, R-worded by a man in September last year, adding, I am not okay. Wallace said in a statement, I'm trans, or to be more accurate, I want to be? That sounds weird. I've been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and I felt this way since I was a young child.
I don't believe that.
I don't either. Maybe.
I'm sorry, like, no fucking
I kind of, but if it's like, this is after you were molested. I always imagined I would leave politics well before I ever said this out loud. The statement was posted on Wallace's website and on Twitter, where it simply said, it's time. Wallace revealed the news was almost late in April of 2020 when someone tried to blackmail him for £50,000 to keep it from being made public.
And
the MP who was...
And then he went public with
it. He did it himself. I mean, like, I can understand, like, oh, you can't have power over me, but did he pay them? Who has since confirmed that he was still using he, him pronouns, said the... So he's... I'm confused by this.
So was he, by the sounds of it.
Said the blackmailer told his father and sent photographs to other family members. However, the blackmailer pled guilty and was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months in prison. For a while, For a while, it seemed as though I would be able to get on with things and move on. So the guy's in prison. He can't blackmail you anymore. Being an MP and hiding something like this was always going to be tough, but I arrogantly assumed I was up for it. Well, I'm not. Wallace wrote, a few months back in September, I hooked up with someone who I had... there we go. I hooked up with someone who I met online, and when I chose to say no on the basis that he wouldn't wear a condom, he chose to R-word me. Oh, so this is recent. I thought that this was as a kid. So this is like just this last year. He continued, I have not been myself since this incident. I don't think I will ever recover. It's not something you ever forget. It's not something you ever move on from. Jesus. Wallace also addressed being arrested on suspicion of driving while unfit after colliding into a lamppost. Wow, this guy just seems like he's got his shit together, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Colliding into a lamppost on the 28th of November, writing in the statement, I fled the scene. I did so because I was terrified. I have PTSD, and I honestly have no idea what I was doing, except I was overcome by an overwhelming sense of fear. You were driving drunk, ran into a lamppost, and ran away, and now you're what a bitch! Everything about this guy screams massive bitch. I am sorry that it appears I ran away, but this isn't how it happened in the moment. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, though. But your even excuses, well, I got PTSD, I was overcome by fear. That's not how it happened. Yeah, it was. The statement concluded, tonight I was reminded of the incredible support those you work with can provide. Also, I was reminded of how important it is to be yourself. I have never lived my truth, and I'm not sure how. Perhaps it starts with telling everyone. Did it not to you sound like, Spoon, that he got caught drunk driving and is trying to... He's probably a gay guy and now is like...
Insane, really
and now is like, please feel pity for me. Don't look into my indiscretions. I'm trans now, and by the way, if you're trans, you cannot be criticized.
Yeah, you're essentially a protected class.
Not just a protected class, the most protected class. You cannot be criticized.
Yes. Which
also Supreme,
which probably makes more and more people actually want to be it just because of that.
Oh, of course. Well, I'll talk about it in a moment, but real quick, Supreme Emperor Keza for £5, thank you, says, so who here regrets voting for the Tories in 2019? Carl, you should have been listening back in April 2019. This is why we need Kezaism. Well, here's the Tories for you. But I told you this story the other day. The person who got Destiny banned off of Twitch is a trans person who is just a complete and utter piece of shit. There's no other way I can describe it. This person they brigade people, they do everything in their power to try and get people kicked off of platforms. That's their entire apparent obsession. I can't remember their name right now. But Keffels. That's it, Keffels. Appears to be using bots, although I don't know, it just kind of looks that way. They might just have that many simps, who knows. And their whole thing is they just spend all day on Twitter ratioing people. And that's what gives them pride in their life. I'm not joking, guys. If you look at it, this person's entire life is about ratioing people on Twitter by responding to a tweet and getting more likes than the original tweet. And it's a trans person who has gotten Destiny now banned from Twitch. And that's just their whole life. Their whole life is, how can I ruin other people's days?
See,
and when they got called out on it, what was their response? You're being transphobic. You're being transphobic. You can't criticize me because I'm trans. This is the same shit. This guy was drunk driving. Oh, you can't criticize me. I'm trans. By the way, I can say guy because he still uses he, him pronouns. So I'm not even misgendering him.
You can't because he's a man. And I don't care for people's fucking pronouns. That's what your chromosomes are for, you fucking freaks. And
I really do feel fucking terrible for legitimately trans people who have to deal with assholes like this.
The thing with Destiny, that was kind of the inspiration for... You're drinking vodka again, aren't you?
No, that's 7-Up.
With vodka?
It's gonna have gin in it, but...
There we go. That was kind of the inspiration for that lengthy F-word rant that I did yesterday. Because it just pisses me off that you can't criticize someone without the group identity being the reason you attack them. Like, can't you just be an annoying fucking asshole? Why does it have to be your group identity? You're an annoying person. I don't care if you're gay, straight, Chinese, black, white, whatever. You can just be annoying. The group identity has nothing to do with you being irritating.
Yeah, maybe you're just a piece of shit.
Yes. This is apparently a very big brain take.
Everyone else on Earth, if you're a piece of shit, you get criticized for being a piece of shit. But this trans shit is this shield where, no, you can't criticize me. If you criticize me for any of my actions, then you're being transphobic.
Do you know why that bugs me so much? Why it's so fucking weird? Is that the West is very obsessed with individualism, so that the fact that it has this collective identity is like fucking weird.
It is very bizarre.
Inflation will mean the average U.S. household has to spend an extra $5,200 this year, $433 per month compared to last year.
Yep. Thank you, Kubus, for the €5. Yeah, it's going to be awful.
Where are you from, by the way? Because Kubus is Dutch to me. Because it's a variation of an Afrikaans name. Well,
it's in euros, so it might be, but might be Netherlands.
Hence me asking, my dear.
But thank you, Kubas. Things are gonna get way worse. And by the way,
have you seen Kubas shit posting in different chats? By the way, it's been fun.
Yeah, yes, I have. Biden has already blamed it on the Russians. So,
my God, can I just say, I realized something earlier on in the chat, and this could be, I know this is so not the case, but it would be funny if it fucking was, that Biden's senile dementia can be, if they weren't fucking retards, they could play his senile dementia crap as a 4D chess move by making him say outlandish shit and just saying it
you
is
mean
dementia.
like he did?
No. Get him to say crazy outlandish shit, but then just play it off as his dementia just to see how people react to it.
It would be interesting if they played that.
Yes, they could do that, but it's not believable.
No, but then it would proc. Oh shoot, which amendment is it where he can be removed for
25th.
being demented? 20. Thank you. Well, you know better than me, obviously.
I know my
so
Americans because I have to troll them.
Yeah.
So
it
I
would
have
proc
to know more
it
than
would proc a 25th Amendment concern. That's why they can't admit that he's actually insane.
I will admit that is a possibility, but with the current Senate composition and the fact that all politicians are a bunch of fucking cucks, they will never 25th the president. Biden
They tried to do it with Trump.
Biden could have, but that's different. Trump is not part of the political class. Biden could have a fucking stroke, and they will find some fucking way to keep him in power. I guarantee you. I will.
At first, I thought they tried. They wanted Kamala, but they don't want Kamala. She's only there to be brown, and in the White House, that's it. That's literally the reason she exists.
She is there to keep him in power because she's that fucking terrible.
Because she's brown and a woman. That's the only reason she even exists. And they don't want her to talk because every time she opens her fucking gob, she's something worse than Biden, and she's
sound like she'd be killed if she wasn't there. If she wasn't.
No. My point is that the only reason she exists where she's at is to just be there and be brown and have a vagina and hopefully not open her mouth too much because everything she says is insane, and you can't with her be like, oh well, she's just old. Nah, she doesn't have the Biden excuse.
As Silgan tried to say, learning the history of other cultures to be more accurately racist online. I see. Yes, see, someone else gets me. Or xenophobic in this case, but yes.
Right.
It's fun to beat people over the head with their own cultures. It's really amusing. They'll just say desperate times, therefore we need this glorious leader Biden at the helm. Oh God, that is probably how they would.
Unironically, I think that is.
But he's not a leader.
Yes, he is. He's more popular than any president in the entire history of the United States.
What's his current approval?
30%.
Yeah, there we go.
28, something like that. Yeah.
What do you think is? I want to ask the chat this. What do you guys think is Biden's actual approval?
I think. Hang on, because you can't really ask that question because leftoids.
I just did.
And will I know?
My chat isn't fucking leftoids, and neither is yours.
No. I'm not. Hang on. Listen to what. Spoon. Let me finish what I'm trying to say, please.
Okay, sorry. Patronize me.
I'm not patronizing you. They actually have convinced themselves that they have to like him. They can't admit that he's fucked because they have to be like, oh no, I do like him. Yes, I do. And so even if you ask for the real number, I still think it would be about the same, or maybe a little bit lower, because I think these people have convinced themselves that they need him. He's not Trump, so he's the orange man. It might be 20%. I don't think it'd be radically lower.
I think if you polled Republicans, he would be in
the Republican.
Honestly, I think.
I think the Republican polling is like 15%. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But the Democrats,
the current polling.
You guys have to understand, Democrats are incredibly stupid people, and I don't mean that as in like a slant or hyperbolic. No, they're really fucking dumb people who know
they're ideological. They're
politics.
very, very ideological, and they have a difficult time thinking outside of groupthink.
Yes.
So do Republicans, by the way. Let's not get like confused, but Democrats seem to be a little bit more predisposed to it because of the idea that we have to do things together collectively. A lot of Republicans lack that collective.
Which is why
it's
they
more
lose.
Individualistic. Why we lose. Whereas Democrats are much more collectivistic. Of we got to do this together. We're in this together. We're in this fight together. So we don't want to make our guy look bad. And that is an actual in a democracy. That is very advantageous for them.
I'm starting to hate that word more and more every day.
I know, I hate it every time I hear it. Right?
We should preserve democracy. Democracy got us into this fucking mess. So get rid of it. Purge it. Dear God, return to a monarch, please. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Furious Dan, Aiden, think of it this way. What if the Dems were asked about Biden's policies and impact without his name attached? There was a study about that not long ago. It wasn't a study. It was a like a man on the street thing. Who did that? Was